watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I'm talking about watches. Now recently I've been watching a lot of watch-related YouTube content, and I've been quite surprised at the importance placed on a crown being assigned. And I started to have a bit of a think about if it is something that is important to me. A lot of the content that I've been watching was reviewing watches, and one of the negatives or the bad things about a watch was always it'd be better if it had a signed crown. So I have been thinking about that for a fair bit, and I've been thinking about what my thoughts are on this particular subject. And I came up with two things. Firstly, does the logo of that particular watch brand suit the crown? There are some really good logos that are associated with watch brands, but that doesn't mean it always translates to being shrunken down and put onto a crown of a watch. And there's two brands that came to mind to me when I thought about this. They're two brands of watches that I own myself. Firstly, Seiko, and secondly, Longines. Now Seiko, their logo is their name, Seiko. So obviously if they shrunk down their whole logo, their whole name, it would look pretty crap on a crown, that I would think. So they had thought that through, obviously, and now they just use the S on the crown. For me, that S on a crown doesn't really work in all circumstances. Occasionally it can be okay, but really, if it's just slapped on for the sake of it, I don't think it's a good idea. And I like that Seiko doesn't put it on all their watches. Specifically, some of their Prospex line watches like my Seiko Samurai, it doesn't have a signed crown, and I'm so glad about that because I think it really suits the watch having that nice, even, clean crown when it matches in with the side of the case. The other brand, Longines, I actually quite like their logo, but it is quite long and skinny. And what they've done is shrink it down so much that it can fit on the side of a crown, and it ends up being just like this weird little line. Now if you look closely you can see of course that it is the logo, but it feels like it doesn't really suit a crown. It just feels like a shrunken down long thing. Now there are watch brands and watch logos that work really well on a crown. I'm not sure if they're thinking it through when they design their logo, but when it basically fits in a nice sort of circle, which obviously a crown is, and it sort of fills that whole area, I think it suits a lot better. And I think my best example that I've seen recently is the Islander watches. Now, not everybody likes their logo, and I'm putting aside the fact whether you like the logo or not, but being a circle with the little arrow, it just fits perfectly on the crown. It looks quite neat, it doesn't stand out too much, and it looks quite good. And the second thing I was thinking about, other than the fact does the logo actually suit the crown, is does it actually need a signed crown? Are they just putting it on for the sake of it to get a little bit more logo or brand presence, or do they actually think it looks good? And I have a couple of watches which I think they've thought it through. Like I just mentioned, my Seiko Samurai, I'm so glad they didn't sign it because it just wouldn't have suited the watch. And some other watches I had, they put their logo on the crown and it looks quite good, however it doesn't suit the overall appeal of the watch. If it's a field watch or a sort of tool watch, sometimes having that extra signage on it is not really required. I also feel if it's just sitting there by itself without any other logos on the watch or with any other similar logos on the watch, it's just sitting there in isolation and it's sort of a little bit out of place. Why has it been put on? Has it just been slapped on as an afterthought, or is there a particular reason for it? Now really, it's just a couple of thoughts that I was having about them. I don't have anything against having a signed crown, and I also don't absolutely hate it if it does have a signed crown, but I thought it was quite an interesting topic, something that people are talking about in regards to, ooh, I wish this watch had a signed crown, it would be so much better. And I'm looking at it going, well, maybe, but why is that such an important thing for you? And I thought making a video about people placing that importance on having a signed crown could be quite an interesting one, and maybe just having a bit of a chat with you guys about my thoughts about that. Now, do you agree with me or disagree with me? Or do you just not care? I don't know. Leave me one of those little comments down below. I'd love to see if people are interested in this topic as well. Have you guys been watching watch-related videos and been hearing people talking about these signed crowns all the time? Or is it just me being weird? Either way, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.